Alright, let's talk about the Rasa fight. Also, let's also play the Master of Music, because it's actually quite good. So, okay, let's talk about Rasa, right? So Rasa is pretty easy, I would say. Like, overall, very easy fight, but at the same time, he's very annoying, which at first I didn't like, but I think that's actually a good thing, because none of his attacks aren't very strong. Like, his combo attacks aren't very strong. Like, his pulling attack, his boomerang, none of them are very strong. He does have strong attacks, and that's mostly the motion sensor bomb and the rock drop. But both the motion sensor bomb and the rock drop are speaking of the rock drop, are very telegraphed attacks. You see these large lines of, like, this is where the attack is gonna be. The attack is gonna be right here. If you walk here, this rock will fall on you. Or if you don't walk into this bomb, it will blow up in your face. Which I think is very good boss design, because you can see the attacks right in your face and you know what to do. If you ignore the bombs and you blow up, you're losing mana, you're losing HP, so that's your fault. Yes, Rasa is a man. All the L Masters are men. Yeah, so that's really cool. Same with the rocks as well. The rocks are very strong, but again, the line is here for a long time. The rock doesn't drop for quite a while. But it still goes with his methods of attack. He's a fast fight. Like, he will attack very fast, but his attacks which are fast are not very strong. And this is a great fight too. If you're watching him, look. 1, 2, 3. He has 3 little fireballs where when he's just kind of standing there, and those little fireballs tell you where the fire lines, I guess, are gonna come from, or the flame trails. They tell you where the final flame trail won't come from, so you know where to stand before the attack even goes through. And that's a really cool thing, because if you're dodging that attack, now you have 2 methods. The first method is the normal method of, okay, I'm just looking where the fires are coming from each sides of the screen. They either come from the top, the bottom, the left, or the right. And if you're watching them, you'd be like, okay, it's not coming from the right, so I'm going to go towards the right. And, it's more of a reflexive test. At the same time, though, if you're paying attention to Rasa, you can notice that one of those flame circles are missing. So if you're paying attention to that, you can know where to dodge before you even see any of them. So it's less reflexive and more like, okay, I'm figuring out this fight. The kind of one bad thing is, and that goes for all the Master Road fights, well, most of them, is once you figure them out, they're just a cakewalk, Like, maybe Rasa was a bit more difficult before you could figure out that you can tell which way the flame marks are coming from. But even before that, it's not too bad to, like, tell where the flame trails are going. But I like that alternative, like, method of dodging, like, so it doesn't have to be completely reflexive. Let's see, what else do I like and dislike? I do like the mechanic with his super attack as well. So after he does the flame trails, he will explode, and you can only dodge the explosion by being behind a rock. Pretty simple, but here's the thing. The rocks, first of all, are one of his attacks, and second of all, you can actually destroy the rocks before the super attack actually happens. And if you destroy all the rocks, then you cannot live the super attack. Which I think is another good thing about the fight, because it makes you pay attention kind of like to what you're doing, like make sure you're not hitting. But at the same time, it's not done. How do I say this? It's not done in a way where you get punished that hard for breaking rocks, because at the most you'll maybe break 1 rock, and that's about it. This Ara is about to get demolished. Y'all saw that? Poor Ara. So at the most, you'll only break 1 rock, and like I've never seen anybody like unintentionally break both rocks. So maybe honestly, if they make the rocks have like lower HP, maybe you did have to pay attention to that. But then I guess that kind of plays into the whole, well, then he becomes less grindable, which is probably, I would say, the last important thing about the Rasa fight, is that he is the most grindable fight, I think, out of all of them, for sure, just for marks, because he is so easy, and because, you don't have to think very hard. Even if the bombs blow up, you won't die. None of his attacks do crazy damage. Even his rocks, the rocks is his strongest attack, and even if they fall on you, most times you will live. Like, he doesn't do that much damage. I was able to understand the rock thing because Chaos Leviathan. I actually don't know how to dodge that attack from Chaos Leviathan. I know what attack you're talking about because I've seen it on ults, and I kind of still don't know how to dodge it. The silence thing. Do you just stand behind a rock or something? I just never ran into that attack often enough to figure it out or bother figuring it out. Also, this music track is fantastic. Here, let me turn off the sound for a bit so you can hear this music track. Absolutely fantastic. I don't know who did the music for the Master Road fights, but oof, that's good. That's good stuff. That's good music. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for the Raso fight. Very, very good fight. Very, very grindable fight. Very simple fight, but at the same time very easy at the end of the day. And kind of, I wouldn't say one-dimensional, but it's definitely like two-dimensional. Like, he has some really cool gimmicks and stuff, but once you figure him out, you'll almost never make the same mistake twice, and you'll almost never die. Which is fine for, again, a grindy fight. So it still kind of works to his advantage. But yeah, overall, I would say Raso is a very good fight. A fight I like. In terms of ranking, let's rank him too. Why not? In terms of ranking, he's definitely in the middle, maybe. I'd say he's maybe middle, like close to top. I'll rank them all at the end. Cause there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he'd be around the middle. He'd be around the middle, but high middle. Havian's theme is really good. Yeah. Next is Spirit Sanctum. So this is just a raw queue. So let's go. Whoever gets me, gets me. Thanks for accepting me, no problem. Alright. He got the ring? Really? Did somebody get good RNG? Oh, look at that! Artifact ring! Look at that. Congrats on the ring. Artifact ring is very, very nice, by the way. One of the best, I think the best artifact, or one of the best artifacts. Alright, so the Ventus fight. So let's talk about what I don't like about this fight first before I talk about what I do like about this fight. What I don't like about this fight is these HP thresholds. This is the only fight with phase 1 HP thresholds, and once they break, you have to wait for him to respawn, and then again, you have to wait for him to respawn. So it's very slow, but it's very like simple, not too hard to figure out. So it's like, I get it, like you get it after a little bit, and then you just kind of have to like deal with it because like you just gotta deal with HP thresholds, and there's nothing you can do to get past these HP thresholds. So I'm not a big fan of that. I think if this fight didn't have HP thresholds and was just like Lindsay kind of always had, or maybe just like have it at least just make them switch once. Like, okay, they're separate. Lindsay has blue, Ventus has green, and then when they get back together, they pick one of the colors, and then there you go. And then you can go into the next phase. I think maybe that would have been better. Like, I just don't think HP thresholds were in the way, or make it more of like a teamwork thing. Because if you notice, when Lindsay and Ventus switch, you get two sides of a circle. You get the Ventus side and you get the Lindsay side. If Ventus's HP runs down to 0, they go to the next HP, they go to like their combined thing. If you did it so like both of them lost their HP around the same time, and then you kind of got benefits after that, like maybe you got a phase 1 knockdown, that would be really, really nice because it adds a bit of complexity. And it adds a bit of like, okay, now you're like working towards a goal with dodging these attacks, and it's really cool. Peter, I hope you can dodge both of them. I think you're fine. I believe in you. Alright, cool. He looked it. So yeah, I thought that'd be cool. But overall, not a big fan of phase 1 because of the annoyance and kind of like just that. There's also an RNG factor here. So as he goes into phase 1, into phase 2, there is an RNG aspect because he will pick one of two colors, blue or green, to be able to form his barrier. So you're just kind of at the mercy of RNG there. Like sometimes you'll get good runs with him, sometimes you'll get bad runs, or it's just like, okay, you started with green, and it's like, okay, you started with blue. At the same time though, he does his attacks very quickly, and each of his attacks can each give you a different color. So let's talk about that for a little bit. I actually really like the color system and how this boss fight goes, where you have to absorb the certain color to be able to dodge. To be able to hit him. So it helps you pay attention to his attacks. And if you run into them too quickly, you will take damage as well. So it's very nice. Huh? Fever. Bro, I got a GOE. I can't fever. I would, but I can't. This attack is really good too. Too. So with the super attack as well, the super attack brings in the idea of teamwork, right? You overlap with your teammate to create a barrier. You overlap 3 times to make the barrier, and the fact that you can also do it with your teammate's dead body is also kind of like a funny gameplay thing. That's pretty cool. I also want to say about Rosso and Flame Bond Spain. Yeah, that I 100% agree with that. If they're in the same spot, that's just some bad RNG, and it's just like, well, that sucks. So yeah, I think if they wanted to improve the Rosso fight, I 100% agree with that. That's the one thing they need to fix, is make it so the bomb and the rock drop do not happen in the same spot. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, that's probably like my thing I dislike the most about that fight, is that bad RNG is just gonna happen to you, and you have to accept it. Again, whenever you're not in control of something, that's when I feel like these boss fights kind of fall apart. Not fall apart, but like are not fun and not enjoyable. Is when the boss does something that you just don't have control of, and then it puts you at a disadvantage, an unfair disadvantage, because that is an unfair disadvantage in my opinion. Because you pretty much just be like, well, I gotta defuse the bomb, but this rock is gonna fall on me, so now I have to take the hit here because I'm defusing the bomb to help my teammates. You know, that's unfair to me in my opinion. Get him, Peter. Just tickle him. Oh, did you get green? I got blue. What else about Ventus? Ventus is also cool too because he thrives off the duo mechanic, or not mechanic, just kind of the idea that his boss fight is a duo fight. So one of the strategies I mentioned before is this one. Are you blue, Peter? I don't know, but I found out. So one cool thing with this fight is if you're a DPS and you're like, oh, doing DPS to ouch. It's better if one teammate is dodging for that and the other teammate is attacking him, because if you're in skill freeze, the arrows will not target you, which is really nice. So the DPS can just do that again, and that's like kind of like a little method of teaming. It's really cool. One thing I do dislike about this fight though is that to be able to do this fight and to be able to work with his barriers, this man needs to come to the ground. To be able to do that, you unfortunately have to wait for the auras of his attacks to be able to hit him, just because you can't hit him with the wrong color or anything like that. Unfortunately, attacks will go out of the arena, which is something I do not like, because you could just be waiting for a color attack, and it's just like, well, it went out of the arena, and you just can't control that. So not a fan of that. So this is a cool attack, just to give you a better visual. In the background, you can also see how many arrows he has left. Another thing, just like the Rosso fight, where the boss does something in the background, which gives you an indication of just something else about the attack, something really nice. Again, more information sources are always a thing of a good quality boss fight in my opinion. So yeah, Ventus fight, it's good, it's decent. The RNG kind of gets in the way and sours my experience in certain aspects, but overall, I like the ideas here. It's just like certain RNG things kind of get me annoyed, but in terms of what the boss fight does, it's pretty good. But I think it falls a bit flat when it comes to grindability, because as you saw, that run took about like 3 minutes 12 seconds. I think Rosso was like 2:30 or around like that, or 2 minutes something, and it all stems from this first phase where it's just like well, whoever they pick to combine to is complete RNG. We have no power over that. It's just like whoever gets picked gets picked. Like this time he picked Wind, and I'm the stronger one, so we're gonna be able to get past this little HP threshold faster. But next time it could be Peter, who's a bit weaker than I am, so that the boss fight takes longer. And it was complete. It was complete RNG. One redstone. Did they just glitch out? Saw that? I'm gonna be hit by blue. Ah! I like that too. Actually, he doesn't do it in the second fight, but that attack does change your color. But it's also an attack that gets in the way because it spawns on top of the boss. Kind of funny. It is annoying though. I say this boss fight is annoying, but it's kind of the point. So I can't complain about it if I'm feeling the things the game designers want me to feel. Like that attack where you get a color change, you get bounced into the air with a blue attack. That's annoying, but it's supposed to be. So you got what I'm saying? It's supposed to be annoying. I was about to awaken, but I should not awaken. Oh, also, yeah, if you're in skill freeze during the arrow attack, they won't track you. But I wasn't that bad. Careful, Peter. He's dead. Don't worry, I'll res you if you ran out of res stones. I have at least one res, and I can use your dead body to dodge the super attack. I got blue, dang it. So now we wait. For green? Nah, I didn't get green. Give me green. So this is the bad thing about the fight, like I was talking about before. It's RNG whether he does green, it's just like where he does green. I have no control over that. I set to play his game. I'll dodge this normally because I don't have a teammate. Simple attack to dodge, by the way. You just kind of jump in a circle. I actually might, it's already 842. So we might just do one fight each of the next couple. Just because time is not on our side right now. Because we have to give times to giveaways as well. Wouldn't want to extend the stream unnecessarily. But this was enjoyable. I love talking about boss design and like boss fights and things like that. These are my favorite topics to talk about in this game. Because this game has such great examples of both great and not so great boss fights. So it's really fun to talk about like what they did right and what they did wrong. And like what people enjoy, what people don't enjoy. Alright. Okay, since I'm only doing one run of the next couple, I'm just gonna queue, and if you queue into me, yeah, we'll get it done. Just to get a move on. 0% stamina. Yeah, stamina's running dry for me too, don't worry. These fights do take a bit of stamina. They do take a bit of stamina. Thankfully, I already did my dailies. Except for, I think I need one more grotto, but I can just, I mean, I need one more reg dungeon, but I can just do grotto for that. Ah, wait, I am skipping Dennis. You're right. I didn't mean to do that. My bad. I didn't mean to skip Dennis. I do really want to talk about that. It is very important to talk to. And since it's a stam pot, I mean, better hurry up. It's only one fight. I'm only doing one fight just so I can talk about the boss fight. It's taking a bit longer than I thought it would. Stam pot. Better hurry. Alright, I only got 2 people. That's okay. Wait 1 second. Dang. I thought that was you. I hope you didn't use it. I was 1 second late. Feels bad. Here, I can maybe do a run. I'll maybe do a run. We'll maybe do a run when the giveaway's actually going on. Okay, so let's talk about Denef, right? Because we gotta talk about Denef. Denef is notoriously known as the worst Master Road fight, And I can't disagree with people. I honestly cannot disagree with people, because here's the problem with Dennis. With most other fights, enemies have the bosses have like a cooldown, or like they won't do multiple attacks immediately after one after each other, so they won't go on continuously. But Dennis breaks those rules immediately. He immediately wants to always attack you. He'll do laser, he'll do tornado, he'll do ice shards, all in continuous succession, and he just won't care and will do them all like immediately. Which is unfortunate, because if you get hit by 4 ice attacks, or I believe maybe 5 ice attacks, you will be frozen, and there's nothing you can do unless you have water resistance, where you'll be getting out of it quicker. But even then, it can still very much easily kill you. Also, these crystals that spawn from the ground, they spawn very quickly, and they hurt a lot, and they can explode after a couple of seconds, which again hurt a lot. And you saw as that bubble that was on top of my head, that bubble can fall down on top of you, and like I've been saying, it hurts a lot. Everything Denef does hurts a lot. He either immediately one-shots you, or he freezes you, and the laser and tornado continuously damage you. You can't do anything because you're frozen. So that's the kind of the worst parts of the fight, and the bad part is, I would say, is that individually these things aren't too bad. The problem is when they all kind of combine together, which in my opinion makes not a good boss fight. I think individually all these ideas are fine, all these attacks are fine, but the problem is when Denef is doing all these attacks, all these very strong, annoying attacks, that if this boss had one of them, they'd be horrible to get rid of. I mean, horrible to fight, but Denef has all of them. So that's kind of the problem here, is he has a combination of all these horrible, annoying things, and they all kind of come in a combination. Here, Peter, we'll do one more. Oh, apparently I can't use that now. What the? I think it's because... Ooh, did I get glitched? Okay. Let's do a little relog here. That was weird. And now I'm in this area. But yeah, but here's the thing, right? There are individual things I like about Denef, because here's the thing with his ice attacks, like I said before, if you're hit by, I think it's 4 or 5 ice attacks, you're automatically frozen. However, if you jump while you have that ice debuff, the debuff goes away, which I think is quite an amazing gameplay thing. I think that's actually a really cool thing, where it's like, you could naturally get rid of a very annoying debuff that kind of builds up. Like, it's really cool because it changes your gameplay and forces you, like, it doesn't force you, but like, you gotta play in a certain way if you want to avoid this debuff, and you can get rid of it on your own if your class doesn't have a natural way to get rid of the debuff. Really cool in my opinion. However, the problem is each ice missile individually can each proc the ice debuff, so you don't really have an opportunity to jump around and try to kind of avoid that situation. It's just kind of like, alright, you got hit by all of them, now you're frozen. And some people have told me that, like, well, Denef is more like a raid boss, where it's like, you have to have a full party, because each of them have to be getting hit at the same time, so it helps you with that. And I don't know if I like that argument, because none of the other Master Road bosses are programmed in that way, where it's just like, you know, it's kind of tailor-made to be a full party. I think most of the other fights are balanced in a way where you can just do them alone. Even in except maybe Ventus, because you do need that other partner to dodge the super attack, but you can just dodge that with like a resurrection drink. So yeah, that's kind of all the problems with Denef. But individually, I like the idea of like dodging a debuff by just kind of jumping around, because it's cool. Same thing with his barrier, right? So he has a mana barrier. The thing with the mana barrier is, once you break the mana barrier, he does a super attack faster, and then it comes back with less health, and obviously he takes more damage, and he has less HP than most other Master Sword bosses. It's a cool concept. Oh, someone broke it. Funny enough. So now we have to attack him. So here's the thing: you don't want to break it until the super attack, because once you break it, you know, he'll regen it, and he'll regen it by the time by the time he gets knocked down again if you break the barrier too early, like we're doing right now. So he'll probably get this barrier back by the time I'm hit by the ice spike. He'll probably get his barrier back by the time we express the DPS him again. Which, you know, not fun, not enjoyable to break that barrier again because it takes quite a bit of HP to kill. Uh, However, that's just how this boss fight is, man. So I think he's gonna get it back. Am I gonna dodge this? Barely. By the way, another tip is to delete your screen when this attack is happening. So you see he's got his full barrier back. Thankfully I do a lot of damage, so we're able to beat it up quickly. And I think he'll still be able to get the kill here. But yeah, overall, I think Denif suffers from a lot of cool concepts, but these concepts, when you put them all together in one fight, at least I feel like don't work, in my opinion. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like it, because you're getting assaulted by all these attacks. You had to be worried about the ice debuff, you had to be worried about his barrier, you had to be worried about way too many things all at once. I think if Denif had a couple of these things, or he had more of a cooldown on his attacks, so he didn't do them like immediately one after another, you didn't go like bam, 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 tornado, laser, ice crystals. Oh, did I skip Adrian? I keep skipping fights. Because I thought I did Adrian last time. Actually, let me not skip Adrian, because this is my favorite fight. Yeah, it's the frequency too, yeah. So yeah, actually I should start talking about these fights while we queue, just so, you know, I have enough time to talk about them. But this is actually my favorite Master Road fight, because it does what the Denif fight wanted to do, but it does it well, in my opinion. I think what they wanted to do with the Denif fight is put you kind of in this kind of like almost fight or flight mode, where the boss is doing so much to you that like you have to pay attention to everything and kind of control your surroundings, and like it's like a good test of your reflexes because you had to dodge everything and things like that. So it's very hectic, but it's hectic but unfair at the same time, in my opinion, because, you know, like I said before, those ice missiles that I was talking about, by the way, you cannot dodge those ice missiles. Those ice missiles will auto track you and they will hit you. They are programmed to always hit you unless you're using a skill beforehand, but that's kind of a glitch, so I wouldn't even count that. However, the hernia fight is really good because even though it is two fights at the same time, paying attention to what Duranda and Herbion are doing individually is a lot more manageable than, ironically enough, dealing with one Denif. Because each of them have their own attacks, they both each have their own cooldowns on their attacks. They will both attack at the same time at certain points, but none of their attacks are super intrusive and annoying that, like, you know, what is it? It feels unfair. You know, sometimes you'll be caught by a drill and she'll drill you like into a laser, and like that feels unfair, but it's like, well, you could have focused on dodging the drill so that wouldn't happen. And they give you these amazing indications. They give you so many indications of where their attacks are coming from and how many attacks there are. So look, Gurnda has those like blue lines, and then Herbion has a red line, and that too, they're both very distinct different colors, so you can pay attention and know which attack is happening when. Like Gurnda has a thing where she'll drag you along during some of her attacks, but she'll only drag you along if it's only her attacking, kind of thing. Like the Nasods will draw you in, but then she won't move, so you can just kind of dodge the Nasods and attack her. But if she's moving along with you, you can't really do that. Now we have the super attack, which is interesting because just like you have to pay attention to where Herbion is, so you have to be aware. You know, the idea of multitasking and being kind of aware of everything. You have to be aware of where Herbion is, but you don't have to like go crazy about it, because like you just kind of have to know where he is and then just kind of avoid him, maybe jump into a circle or things like that. And sometimes you do run into the situation where Herbion does run into Duranda, and it's just like, well, you had no control of that. That's probably the only thing I complain about it. However, still very good boss fight. Still my favorite fight because it is hectic and difficult, but in my opinion, it is a very fun fight. Did somebody get something? Is that what you said? Ah, or did you just die? Okay. Here was the Souls fight. Oh, you tanked it. Okay. Also, it's, again, like I said, it is a very fast fight because for two reasons. You're attacking two targets at once, and fun fact, Duranda does her super attack earlier than any other fight in Master Road. I'm not sure why. I think it's because there's two boss fights. Like, Herbion does his super attack along the lines that the other fights will do theirs, but Duranda is different, where she'll do hers earlier than everybody else. The story mode of the Master Road, change your mind. Oh yeah, I need to talk about Gaia too. Well, I would count those. I mean, those are phase ones. So whenever I talk about phase ones, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Phase one of Durnda and Herbion is the same thing, except you take away that complexity of paying attention to two bosses at once. All right, so Solus fight. Solus fight, in my opinion, is a good fight to have. It's not my favorite, but it's a good fight to have. This is a fight, where if you know what to do, you should never get hit and never have a hard time with this fight, because the boss only gets... Oh, guy, that was weird. The boss only gets difficult if you're bad at dodging, or if you're not paying attention to dodging it. Because the whole thing with the Solus fight is he has these marks where, as he gets more marks, he gets stronger, he gets longer lasting attacks, he gets more defense, but he'll only get marks when you get hit, and then you get hit again. So he had to be hit not only... It's not just once, so he's had a bit of forgiveness as well, which is very nice. He had to be hit twice. So it's just like, you take this risk of doing damage to him, but being caught in your skill so that you get hit by him. But the game does give you a bit of leeway, because as you can see right here, I only got hit once, but I just got a debuff, which doesn't give him a whole mark. If you get hit with the debuff on you, then he gets a mark. So it's really cool, because it's just like, you can either play it safe and just stay away from him, make sure he gets no marks, because if he gets no marks, then he does his super attack the fastest, he has the lowest amount of defense. If you're just dogging him, like completely dogging him, not paying attention, and just kind of like playing this fight like how most people play a lot of other fights, where you're just spamming your skills into him and not paying attention, then he gets all his marks, and he does these very, very slow attacks, where these light beams go across the screen, and then he splits the screen in half. So you get a worse fight as you do worse. It's directly, like, that's what I really like, is where it's directly influenced about how you play. So, you know, that's the thing with the, what is this guy? That's the thing with Solus fight I really like, is that how much of a bad time you're having is completely dependent on how well you're playing this fight. At the same time, though, the kind of the bad thing about that is that if you're good at the fight and you know what to do, it does get a bit boring, because the thing with Solus is, if you've done it once, if you know what to do, you've done it every time. And here's the thing with Solus is he's very bad at catching you. If you just stand in the top right platform, he'll almost never catch up with you, and the worst thing you have to deal with is lasers, which you can just like dodge by going left and right or jumping to a lower platform. And we have 2 fights left. We have the Hernia fight and then the Gaia fight. I need stamina. Good thing I do PvP, so I have stamina pots. I almost never see Herbion's ultimate attack. Yeah, not many people do. It's a simple attack, though. Gate? Yeah, don't worry about Gate. We don't got time for Gate. So the Hernia fight, okay? So let's talk about Phase 1 Hernia fight. Phase 1 Hernia fight, I don't mind, and it's overall a decent fight, but my problem is, the little mobs are just really tanky, so that fight just takes so long. The first phase fight just takes a really long time. It's really annoying to deal with. Because all these guys can combo into each other. They all have a silence attack. However, it is kind of a good and bad thing in a way, because just like the Adrian fight, each of these guys individually, they share an HP bar. So if you can get a couple of them together, got some splash damage, have a wide attacking move like Giga Prominence, you can hit multiple clones at once and end the phase earlier. But it's still slower than most other Master Road fights, phase 1 fights. By the way, fun fact, the fastest Master Road is probably Rosso or Solus. Phase 1 at least. Phase 1. Splash damage is cool too, yeah. Phase 2 Hernia, though. Phase 2 Hernia is, in my opinion, a really, really, really good beginner fight. What the heck? Bots! Get the heck out of here! What's bots doing here? Banned. 2 bots immediately came in here. Get out of here. Trying to talk about boss fights. Anyway, like I was saying, Hernia is the epitome of a great beginner boss fight where everything is your fault if you get hit. Hernia has very, very like wide, like very long, wide animations with each of her things, but she's always consistent on what she does, and she'll always tell you where her attacks are coming from. So that attack's coming from bottom because she's crouching under and hitting the bottom. That attack goes left, and then same thing. She has a right attack, an up attack, a down attack, all that stuff. And then she reaches her hand up. You see the spikes form above you, spears, and you can dodge them like that. So that's the thing, right? If you're getting hit by Hernia, it is 100% your fault. The game does nothing unfair in this fight. Also, yeah, the super attack is simple. You just hit the correct color and don't hit the incorrect color. So a bit of figuring out there. But yeah, in terms of talking about dodging correct attacks, it is 100% your fault that you get hit, and that is a great feeling to have, because it's like, if you messed up, well, that's on you. It was very obvious where her attacks were coming from. There's no unfortunate situation like with Rosso, where a bomb and a rock spawn at the same time. You know, that never happens, so you can have solace in that at least, for sure. But at the same time, it's very simple. You know, her attacks are very wide, long-reaching attacks, and you know definitely where they're coming from. She also has a very wide hitbox, so it's really nice for characters who were dealing with like humanoid boss fights before. It's like, oh, they finally have a very large boss fight to get their multi-hit skills on, or like their wide hitting skills on. Like with me with my Rain of Fire and Giga Prominence. Alright, we got one more boss fight to do, and then we'll do the final two giveaways. TYFP, yes, TYFP everybody. So that's the Hernia fight. Very, very good fight in my opinion. Very simple, but very good, very straightforward fight once you get the hang of it. And let's finish it up with Gaia here. So what I think is the perfect example of a beginner boss fight in Hernia. This is, in my opinion, the perfect example of the best way to get into Master Road, because Gaia is the epitome? Could it tell me? I don't know. Anyway, he's the epitome of a little bit of everything, you know? He has the annoyance of, like, Rosso. He has the very strong attacks like Denif, but he has the simple patterns of, like, Solus. And he has, like, you paying attention to him, kind of like Hernia. He's like a combination of everything, almost. Like, at the same time, too, each of his attacks have amazing, beautiful, of great animation tells. Really, you hate Gaia? They have very, very good tells, and you know exactly what to do. If you're getting caught by Gaia, most times it's your fault. But if you get caught by Gaia, he does not forgive. He does not forgive. So that's one of his attacks. If he'll stand still, rocks will form under him and then explode. There's another attack, a shockwave. You know, you could dodge everything with Gaia just paying attention to Gaia. You don't even need to attack him. You just need to watch him. Everything he does is everything he's going to do. What you see is what you get. You know, they're very simple animations. The one thing that will get you is that dash attack. You know, if you get caught by that dash attack, I don't blame you. He will kind of just do that to you, and the Hadouken as well, because sometimes he catch you off guard. And again, that's more of a reflex thing. And he has the thing with the shield, where it's just like you can proc the shield if you touch the shield. If you don't touch the shield, you won't proc it. But again, it's a little bit of everything. You have the easy to dodge attacks. You have these like attacks where he builds up a certain attack and then he does it. He is like the epitome of a boss fight. Like, just has a little bit of everything. And it's like, and it's still tough if you're weak. All of these attacks one shot. You know, if you don't know what you're doing in Rosso, if you don't know what you're doing in like Gaia, he will hand it to you. And this super attack, again, it's a very simple super attack, basic video game thing. You look for the gap in the attack, simple but effective. And that's what I would say is Rosso's. I'm saying Rosso. That's Gaia's strength here. He's very simple fight to understand. It will take maybe a little bit to finally understand the attacks, and some things will get you like caught off guard. But it is a very, very high quality fight, and it is a solo fight too, so you can kind of just be paying attention to yourself and what you're doing. Gaia's like Raychar doing devastating strike. True. All right. Let's do this final giveaway. What should the word be? Gaia is a very nice fight. Definitely. Absolutely excellent fight. Absolutely excellent. We got a Harmony Festival because I love the Harmony Festival music. Peter sucks at beauty. Gaia. Sure. Just make it simple. We don't have much time anyway. Our time is running dry. Kind of went a little bit over, but it's okay. Alright, so while you guys are doing that, let me rank in terms of time to follow. No! We're close to meeting the goal, look. You guys have like 10% to go. Unless you guys don't want to see face reveal, which is fine. I don't have to reveal my face to anybody. So let me rank them. So I'd say my least favorite, definitely Dennis. Just, again, the concepts are good. Execution is not my favorite. Right after Dennis is Ventus. The concepts are cool again, but the RNG just kind of gets in the way. Just not a big fan of the RNG. It's just because again, you're not in control of it, so I'll put him there. After him, I put Solus. It's a good fight. It's a simple fight, but the fact that all you need to do is just run away from him, it does get very boring on repeated playthroughs. So that's why I'm not a big fan of that there. And if you do get like hit, he just take a while with his attacks. So yeah, that's why I put him there. But these two fights I just don't like at all. Like the Solus fight is when you start to get to the fights I actually enjoy a lot. After Solus, I'd put Rosso. He's very nice to grind. He's a very simple fight, but his simplicity is the fall of him. Because he is so simple, again, he falls victim to being boring at the end of the day. Or just a little bit more boring. Him knocking you away isn't fun. Like, I know that plays into the fight of, like, he doesn't do much damage, but he's kind of annoying. But it's just being annoying is, like, annoying to deal with, you know? So there we go, there's Rosso. And then I would probably do... It's hard. It's hard between Gaia and Hernia in terms of what I like. But I think what it comes down to is the first and second phases. So I'd put Hernia next. I'm not a big fan of the first phase just because the little mobs are so tanky, and like I know you have to wait for a bunch of them to spawn in before you start doing damage, but it takes so long to wait for that. But second phase is absolutely fantastic. If this was only second phase, this would be easy like a second place, but this is definitely third place for me. Second place is the Gaia fight. Again, like I said, it's the definition of a boss fight. Everything you do, he has great animations and great tells for each of his attacks. If you die there, it's mostly your fault, but sometimes you do get caught by things that are unfair. But, you know, again, it's a combination of almost everything. Great boss fight. And finally, number one is the Adrian fight. Absolutely fantastic. It is very hectic. It can be very difficult, but it's not completely unmanageable. You know, if you're paying attention to both beings at the same time, you should be 100% fine. They have great tells for most of their attacks. The attack that might caught you off guard occasionally is like, what is it? Durin does like a little slash attack or Herbion's flatten attack, but none of those are one-shots, and they don't do much damage anyway. It's more annoying. The super attack can get annoying if Durin starts flying her drill around and Herbion teleports into her. That can happen. That's not a good thing in my opinion, but I think I can overlook that for the other positive things. And again, you are fighting two fights at once, but like I said before, it's the fastest fight. This is the fastest fight by far out of any of the other fights because Durin does a super attack a lot earlier. So again, it's a risk and reward thing. You know, you deal with the bounce of that. You deal with the fact that you have to deal with two fights, but you can fight both of them at once so that you can do splash damage. You're doing more damage to them in general because they're both targets, share the same HP bar. So that's why that's my favorite fight. So again, first place, second place, third place, I believe this is fourth place, fifth place, sixth place, and seventh place for Death. And those are my rankings for Master Road.